In this video, we'll discuss about patterns using nested for loops. In the previous video, we've discussed about nested for loops. If you haven't checked that video out, please do check it out. So let's get started. So today we will be discussing these three patterns which you can see here. These three patterns, and first of all I would be writing the code, and after that I will give an overall summary of that code. So if at all I make any mistakes in the code, in the final after the whole code is done, I'll give out a summary. So please watch the video till end and don't miss anything out. So let's get started with our first pattern. If you observe this pattern, as the rows are going on increasing, the number of stars are increasing according to the given rows. For example, on the first row there is 1 star, in the second row there are 2 stars, third row there are 3 stars. So it is going on in this way. The first row there is a single star, on the second row there are 2 stars, and on the third row there are 3 stars. That is how it is going. Now we will first import the scanner class. Now create a number called a variable called n. Now we'll write the for loop. Now this is the outer loop. This is for for int I equals 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus. And now we are writing the inner loop. This is for the number of stars. For int j equals 1, j less than or equals I, j plus plus. I'll explain you why that is less than or equals I. Let's print stars. This is out. Star plus, let's give some gap so that it will be organized. We shouldn't write ln. Now it will be printed, or it will be printed in horizontal manner, and this is out, so that everyone after the loop is complete, it will be printed in a new line. Let's print this out. Wait, after this let me put this message here. Please enter the number of rows. Now let me print this out. It's asking please enter the number of rows. I entered 5. So now what happened here is, now this is the outer loop here. This is the outer loop, and this is the inner loop. So what does this outer loop does? What this does is, this is gonna decide the number of rows we are gonna print. So we have mentioned I equals 1, I less than or equals n, I plus plus. So here we have given the value of n as 5. So it has printed 5 rows, 1 2 3 4 5. Yes. Now what the inner loop does is, inner loop cares about the number of stars inside the rows. So we have mentioned j equals 1, j less than or equals I, j plus plus. So what does this mean? Whatever the value of I is, that is gonna be the value of j. So if I value is 1, then the number of stars would be 1. I value is 2, the number of stars are 2. I value is 3, number of stars are 3. So that's how it has worked. So this triangle is formed in this way. So if you want to print numbers like 1 1 2 1 2 3 here, so you need to mention just j, so that see 1 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. Here simply this value j is being printed here, that's it. Before we've printed the star, now we are printing the j, so the numbers are printed in this manner. So that is how this pattern works. In this pattern we need to understand three things, which are the number of rows, which is represented by I, the number of stars, and the number of spaces. Spaces in the sense, for example, if you look at this I equals 1, there are no spaces here. But when you look at I equals 2, there is a gap here. Now these are the spaces. So how many spaces are here? 1, and then you give a space, and then you have the star over here. So there are 2 spaces here. Now if you check here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and then you have stars here. So if you want to find, if you look at this pattern, and if you want to find the number of spaces for the ith row, then there are 2 into I minus 1 spaces. If you want, you can check with I equals 2. For example, if we substitute this 2 value here, so 2 into 2 minus 1, so there are 2 spaces over here, 1, 2, and I equals 3, so 2 into 3 minus 1, which is 4. So there are 4 spaces. So in order to find the number of spaces for an ith row, we use this formula 2 into I minus 1. We'll write the program till here first, and then I'll tell about the stars. So we'll take a variable called n, and we'll equate this to 5. So n is the number of rows. So for int I equals 1, I less than or equals n, I plus plus, for int, now we'll take j equals 1, j less than or equals I minus 1, j plus plus. I've given 2 spaces over here because I've written I minus 1 over here, and it is 2 into I minus 1. So I've given 2 spaces over here so that this will get compensated. Now I'm running the loop for I minus 1, and then I've given 2 spaces here. Now the next thing is to print the number of stars. If you look at the I equals 1 row, there are 5 stars. In I equals 2 row, there are 4 stars. And in I equals 3 row, there are 3 stars, and then 2, and then 1. So in the ith row, there are n minus, from this we can understand that in the ith row there are n minus I plus 1 stars. For example, if we check I equals 3, so the value of n is 5 here. So 5 minus 3 plus 1. 5 minus 3 plus 1 is 3. So there are 3 stars here. So in order to find the number of stars in an ith row, we use this n minus I plus 1. So we'll again write another for loop. For int, we can take k equals 1, but I'll take j here. So int j equals 1, j less than or equals n minus I plus 1, j plus plus. Now we'll print out a star and a space. And now we'll print this out here so that everything will be printed in a new line. We'll create a new line. Now we'll print this out. Oh, we need to remove this ln here. Everything got printed in a straight line. Now it will be printed correctly. Yes, you could see how it got printed. Now here this is the outer loop, and this is the inner loop. This outer loop is to print the number of rows, and this inner loop is to print the number of spaces here and the number of stars. So this is to print the number of spaces. this is to print the number of stars. Yes. So for spaces, we have taken I minus 1 and we have given 2 spaces over here, so that it will be 2 into I minus 1. And for the number of stars, we have used this n minus I plus 1 and then we have printed this star. Instead of this star, we can print anything. If we want to print numbers, simply I need to print out j plus some gap. Now we'll see what this prints. See 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 1 2. So this is how this pattern is printed. Print this pattern out, we again need to look at those three things, which are I equals number of rows and j is which are spaces and number of stars. So here in between each star there are 2 spaces. So in here in I equals 5 there are like no spaces at all. If you look at I equals 4, here there are 2 spaces and here there are 2 spaces. So totally there are 4 spaces. If you look at I equals 3, here there are 2, 4 and then 2, 4. So totally there are 4 plus 4, 8 spaces. So if you look at these things, we can identify that for any ith row, the number of spaces are 2 into n minus I. So there are 2 into n minus I spaces for the ith row here. So we'll print our program to there first. Same, take int n equals 5 for, now this is the outer loop, for the number of rows. For I equals 1, for int I equals 1, I less than or equals n, I plus plus. This is in order to print the number of rows. I'll write it here. Number of rows. For int. Now we are printing the inner loop, which is for the number of spaces. For int j equals 1, j less than or equals n minus I, j plus plus. Since we're printing 2 spaces in between, we'll give out 2 spaces. Space 1, 2. Now we've given 2 spaces out here. Now we'll write another loop for int. Now this is for printing out number of stars. Before we write this is very similar to the first pattern which we have done, where here there will be 1 star, here there will be 2 stars, here there will be 3 stars. So here if you observe this pattern, for I equals 1 there is 1 star. So for I equals 2 there is 2 stars. For I equals 3 there are 3 stars. So for I equals n there are n stars. So we can write it as j equals 1, j less than or equals n. J plus plus. This is out. Star and a gap. We need to remove this ln so that everything will be printed horizontally. Now another this is out. Now we'll run this program. Some mistake. I'm sorry, it should be j less than or equals I. Wait, now this one I'll tell you what is the mistake. See, now it got printed. What happened here was, I've printed j less than or equals n. Now it printed out now n is equals to 5, so it printed out 5 everywhere. We have to take j less than or equals I, so that when it is I equals 1, then it is going to print 1 star. I equals 2, it is going to print out 2 stars. I equals 3, it is going to print out 3 stars, and so on. So we'll once again understand this program. Now this is the outer loop, and this is for printing the number of rows. Int I equals 1, I less than or equals n, I plus plus. So we have specified the value of n as 5, so it has printed out 5 rows in total. Now for the number of spaces, n minus I, j less than or equals n minus I, and then we've given 2 spaces, so that in between each of the stars there will be 2 spaces, and after each row the spaces will be correctly aligned. Now this is for the number of stars. For int j equals 1, j less than or equal I. Now we are taking this with reference to I, so that I equals 1, it is going to print out 1 star. I equals 2, it is going to print out 2 stars. I equals 3, it is going to print out 3 stars, and so on. We have printed this star and we have given 2 gaps here. It will be perfectly organized, and then we printed this line. We printed this so that everything will be printed in the next line. This is how we print a pyramid.
Patterns which we discussed in today's video will give us a better understanding towards the nested for loops concept. If you have any suggestions or queries regarding this video, please do ping me on my Instagram handle or comment in the comment section below. Thank you everyone for watching this video. Please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. We'll meet in the next one.